gaining a lot of followers. Can you talk about what you think about that and what you have to say to people who are following this movement right now?
Well, I don't know much about the movement other than I understand they like me very much, which I appreciate, but I don't know much about the movement.
I've been a big supporter of mental health. I'd recommend that people who believe it maybe should take advantage while it still exists in the Affordable Care Act.
Note those two very different answers. QAnon has gone mainstream. So mainstream that the two men running for president are acknowledging its existence, and at least two QAnon supporters have a pretty good shot at being elected to Congress in November. Now, if you don't know what QAnon is, let me explain, because you can't talk disinformation without getting in depth on QAnon. QAnon is a pro-Trump online conspiracy cult rooted in a belief that Donald Trump is saving the world from a shadowy cabal of Democrats, Hollywood elites, deep state actors, and satanic child molesters. It was once relegated to the fringe, but no more. The dangerous network of disinformation began in 2017 on a racist forum frequented by trolls and far-right extremists. And if not for social media, it might have stayed there. As the QAnon conspiracy spread online, often through violent anti-Semitic memes and harassment campaigns against politicians and celebrities, believers started showing up in the real world at Trump rallies. QAnon believers also began popping up in the news, often for committing violent crimes. The FBI warned last year that QAnon is a potential domestic terror threat. This conspiracy theory, once hidden in the shadows of the dark web, has made its way to thousands of those Facebook groups that Roger was talking about, and millions of members. It's now infiltrating a new group of targets. Brandy Zadrozny has more on that. Brandy?
QAnon isn't just a conspiracy theory, it's a cult, and it feeds on insecurity, uncertainty, and isolation. So nationwide protests, the coming election, and a pandemic have provided just the environment to recruit and radicalize new members. Marc-Andre Argentino is a data scientist, and he studies extremists. He made this chart for me using CrowdTangle, which is a Facebook-owned tool. It shows the activity of hundreds of the largest QAnon groups. Do you see that spike? That's in March, when states begin COVID-19 lockdown measures. But it hasn't just grown. QAnon content is reaching a new audience, and in some unexpected places. Anti-vaccination, anti-mask activists have embraced the conspiracy theory. Instagram is riddled with QAnon conspiracies, spread in flashy posts by lifestyle influencers, mommy bloggers, and alternative health pages. And in some 200 cities and towns across the U.S. last month, moms, often with kids in tow, gathered in their main streets, holding signs branded with QAnon messages. Now, after 6 months of rapid growth, Facebook finally took some action, removing some, but not all, of the QAnon groups that were explicitly discussing violence. Twitter made a similar, stronger sweep the week before, and those moves have decreased but not eliminated QAnon activity on the platforms. Ali?
All right, so what do you do if you've got friends, you've got coworkers, you have neighbors who believe this QAnon stuff? Shannon Foley Martinez is, and I hope you're sitting down for this, an ex-neo-Nazi and a current Yale professor who specifically works to de-radicalize people who've fallen victim to online radicalization. Shannon, thank you for joining us on the show. Ben, kick us off.
So, Shannon, first of all, thanks for coming. And second of all, look, we talked a few weeks ago for a story about QAnon. And, you told me explicitly, like, I don't know what I was thinking when I was going down that white supremacist rabbit hole. Like, was it like, did I lose empathy? What was happening at that time? And what you were saying is, at that point, you didn't think you were becoming a bad guy. And that's really what's happening with these QAnon people, right? They don't think they're becoming a bad guy. They think they're becoming a hero in their own story, right?
Sure, I'm not a Yale professor. I'm a consultant at Peril at American University, just to clear that up. So
you're accusing me of disinformation already. I'm 30 minutes into the show, and I've already provided disinformation. Don't clip that and put that on the internet. Okay, go ahead, Shannon.
Everybody already thinks that anyway. So one of the things that I didn't recognize while I was radicalizing into what I was doing was that I was creating an echo chamber for myself. In my case, it was a physical echo chamber. I ended up only spending time with people who believed what I believed, only in spaces where this was all that was going on. And I didn't recognize that was happening to me, that my brain was really like hijacked into only framing the world around this ideology and these beliefs that I was immersing myself in. One of the things that's very important is that these are still individual stories. It's important for us to talk about the meta, right? It's important for us to talk about this bigger, larger QAnon thing. But the people who are part of this are still individual human beings who all have a story behind how they got there. Most of the time, these stories involve some kind of trauma or layers of trauma in their lives. We know, specifically when we're talking about women and moms from the Me Too movement, just how endemic sexual assault and sexual violence is for women in the country. That the world feels dangerous and out of control to these people, and that they're looking for something that had a meaningful connection to something greater than themselves that they haven't found elsewhere. When we start interjecting the idea that children are in danger, of course, moms in particular and women are like, oh, we have to save the children. Like, why has no one told me about this? And so then when they hear and they start investigating and interacting with these ideas, that there's this coming from this sense of deep disempowerment, that when you feel like you have found the true truth, the real facts which hitherto have been hidden from you, that is very alluring and seductive and feels a lot like empowerment for a lot of people. The QAnon folks tend to be older people, as opposed to a lot of the further right-wing stuff and esoteric Hitlerism stuff tends to be younger teenagers and young adults. But this is often middle-aged and older people who feel like they're tech-savvy, but aren't actually really all that tech-savvy. So their ability to fact-check is often really limited, and they think they are. So one of the things, I also work like helping people leave, radical violence-based stuff. And one of the things that I have found is that when you're talking to people who are involved in conspiracy theories, that the problem is that there really are conspiracies. Like, part of the explosion of QAnon is that it is being exploited by domestic and foreign influences to create and sow discord. But there isn't a single conspiracy, right? There isn't one driver. There are lots of people who have power, who want to maintain and amplify their power, and there are conspiracies that are going on. But there isn't one singular conspiracy. So how to talk about that in a complex way and how to interject that complexity into what they have, this worldview that they have created, to navigate the difficulty of feeling this world that feels dangerous and unsafe, and that they're losing security that they once had through multitudinous drivers. So there's like personal things, and then there's everything going on in the world. There's recession, there's, social change, there's, that we're watching the dismantlement, hopefully, of white supremacy. We're watching violence from far-right actors, and so the world does feel dangerous and unpredictable to a lot of people. And so this gives an explanation to why. Yeah,
it's a useful explanation, Shannon, because while it's hard to empathize, it is useful to understand that the drivers are similar: fear, danger, and being out of control. Thank you for sharing that with us. Shannon Foley-Martinez is a reformed white supremacist who now works to keep people from going down into those conspiracy theories and into those hate groups.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.
Find the world is new. Again, at Chevy, we'd like to take you there.